Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Jamie Woods. Mic check, mic check. I'm just testing out my sound real quick, man. I just went through so much just to get this show started, man. And I'm still going through shit while I'm on live right now as we speak, man. I'm so annoyed right now, man. Let me just double check, make sure that everything works. Yo, mic test, mic test. Looks like everything works. Yeah, guys, I don't know if you could see, but I'm visibly frustrated because I'm working with this old Mac, and I didn't reboot it. It kind of stayed on for a couple days. And so when you have old Macs and you leave them on for so damn long, and then you shut it off and you try to reboot it, it just acts out. In fact, I think it's acting. Is it? I froze up for a little bit. But it acts up. So hopefully it stops acting up, because guys, I tried to get a PowerPoint. I couldn't. I spent so much time working on that PowerPoint, man. And I literally spent nearly an hour trying to get that PowerPoint onto this live stream, into this broadcast, and nothing. So that, and then I try to get the intro, the outro, the scenes, nothing. I couldn't get anything on. So I'm a little frustrated by that, but I'm gonna make the best out of what I got. Unfortunately, I won't be able to give you guys any visual aids for this presentation, for this broadcast. So it's all gonna be word of mouth. I do got the slides right on over here to the side of me on my iPad. So I'll be reading off of that. So if you guys see me looking this direction, it's because I'm looking at the slides on my PowerPoint. Because you guys know I love to make these slides and I love to read off the slides. So I'm visibly annoyed about this whole situation, but like I said, we're gonna make the best out of it. So yeah, guys, listen. A couple things before we begin, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Monday! As you guys know, every single Monday we will be doing a live stream on this channel. So unless I'm on vacation, of course, which I am very soon. But I still think I'll be doing live streams even from vacation, because your boy is just in a hustling mood. We hit 14K today, ladies and gentlemen. 14K on YouTube. In fact, let me lower the music just a bit, I don't know if it's too distracting for y'all. But yeah, 14K on YouTube today. So I woke up to that. So that was a fantastic way to wake up this morning. I literally I literally put blood, sweat, and tears into this YouTube channel, man. I don't think people understand just how difficult. And I'm not saying it's the most difficult thing in the world. Obviously, there's some jobs out there, like blue collar jobs, hard labor jobs, that are much, much harder, right? But being a YouTuber, and this is just a part-time thing for me. You know what I mean? I got jobs, I got a career, you know what I mean? But at nighttime, being a YouTuber is very hard. In some ways, it's actually harder than the career I have, because at least with the career I have, you see the benefit of working there. You get money, right? You work and you get money. However, with YouTube, I've done this for the last 4 or 5 years for free. No money. I haven't made not 1 cent out of this YouTube channel. And it's been 4 or 5 years. So I put blood, sweat, and tears into this YouTube channel. I've been ridiculed for many years. People have ridiculed me for, close friends at the time, like people that I knew personally, ridiculed me for trying to start a YouTube channel, because like, why would you do that? Why would you make a dating channel? Oh, traveling? Who do you think you are? Right? Talking shit behind my back, all this stuff, right? Trying to, hope that my YouTube never blows up. I've been disrespected by many other people in the manosphere, in this space. Not nobody wanted to collaborate with me. People turned me down, left me on red, didn't view my emails, didn't respond back to my emails, didn't respond back to my IG messages, all that. And the thing is, I remember all that. I'll remember all that, because I have so much self-belief in myself that I'm gonna make it. And you know, I just don't want those same people that did all that disrespectful shit to ever come back and be like, "Oh, I believed in you. I was there from day one." Bro, very few people were there from day one. And in fact, as I'm making and recording, or I would say live streaming as we speak right now, there are zero viewers. Zero. Now, I'm not saying that for anyone to pity me, because that's not the point. But the point is, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes when you're chasing your dreams, things get very difficult. Sometimes you get discouraged, you get tired, you get exhausted from putting in so much work. I put in a lot of work. I work 2 jobs. I do this shit 7 days a week. Okay, so I work. Not only do I work 2 jobs 7 days a week, right? But I also do this 7 days a week, no break. All right, whether that's a video, a short, a live stream. In fact, I already dropped the short today. Working on editing Against All Odds 15, which by the way will be dropping in April. The date will be coming out very soon on when that comes out. But it's exhausting. You know, there've been times where I kind of thought to myself, is this shit even worth continuing to do? I'm not seeing any profit out of this. I'm not seeing any success out of this. But it's days like today when you hit 14K where you're like, you know what? I'll stick around for a bit longer. I'll keep going. I'm never gonna quit. You know what I mean? But it just is very difficult sometimes, man, when the odds are stacked up against you, you know. Uh, but your boy's here. Your boy's standing strong. Your boy's gonna continue to do this because this is what I love to do. This is rewarding to me whenever I see people's lives getting impacted for the better because of my content, right? So support your boy. If you really mess with this content, if this content really resonates with you, support your boy. And it doesn't have to be anything monetary. It could be as simple as liking the video, liking the broadcast, commenting. Tell me what your opinions are. Share this. Share this with your friends, family, acquaintances, girlfriend, boyfriend, whomever. Subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Why are you watching, not subscribing? You know what I mean? You're watching all the videos, but you're not subscribing. Subscribe. Go on the Patreon. If you really do mess with the content that is, and you're willing to put some money down, which isn't much, by the way, it's only $5 for the Patreon, right? And the Patreon, by the way, for anyone that's watching, the Patreon's kind of like a for all the dogs type of vibe. You know, it's kind of for all the dogs. Like, you know, I don't think I'll make as much as I do love making content for women. You know what I mean? I feel like transferring that into a Patreon, I don't know if it works. I feel like with male content, there's so much stuff that I want to say on YouTube that I can't really say because it's kind of like frowned upon because it comes off as toxic masculinity, right? That content is on Patreon. So if you guys are into that crazy hardcore no holds barred shit, right? Sign up for the Patreon. It's only $5 a month. I got exclusive interviews there. All right. You guys don't want to miss that. I think I don't want to go over too many details about that. Uh you know, but it's definitely worth the money. It's only only $5 a month, right? I'm not really charging too much. I thought, you know, hey, let me charge small, you know, because people, you know, especially with me, an up and coming YouTuber, who's gonna drop $20 on me? You know what I mean? But yeah, Patreon. And then another thing that I wanted to talk about besides the Patreon is, of course, the merch. So I have a lot of merch. In fact, I have a St. Patrick's Day hoodie. I know it was St. Patrick's Day yesterday, but you know, we're in the month of March. But I have a St. Patrick's Day hoodie. Not lucky, just blessed. Make sure you got y'all cop that or you check it out at least. Check out what I got on the Teespring website. Of course, the link will be in the description. So check that out. Check that out in the description center. So I got that. And then Against All Odds 15 will be coming out in April. Okay, so I'll let y'all know when that drops. But check out Against All Odds episodes 1 through 14. Now available on the Jamie Woods YouTube channel, and of course the Control Over Nothing YouTube channel. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, now that we got all that out the way, let's get with it with the presentation. All right. So the reason why I'm making this presentation is because I don't think, and it's not, let me just start off by saying this. It's not to bash anyone that's in a long distance relationship or dating abroad, right? Because now that's become a very popular thing with the passport bro movement, with more people traveling. The world's kind of become a bit more smaller due to technology, social media. You know, now people are beginning to see what's really out there in the world and what the world has to offer. And because they're seeing what the world has to offer, they meet people from other places. Or maybe they're on Tinder, they're on Bumble, they're one of these dating apps, and now they have these passport features where you're able to match with people from other countries, right? So people are seeing what options are out there, not just locally, not just what's in the nation, but also what's outside of that internationally. And they're dating women or men, you know, it could go both ways. Maybe it's a woman that wants to date a foreigner, a foreign man, right? Or maybe it's a man, most likely it's a man that wants to date a foreign woman. So it's growing by the numbers day by day. More and more people, more and more men are looking to settle down and have a relationship. with a woman from overseas, from a different country, a foreigner, right? So this is a two-part series. I decided to start off with the bad and then end off with the good. That's just the way I've always been. Just get the bad out the way and end it off on a good note. So this week will be the struggles or the cons of dating abroad, dating overseas. And then next week will be the pros of dating overseas, because there are many pros and I want to get to those. And I'm more excited about that one, but I want to get this one out the way because I still feel like this is a very, very, very important broadcast, because it'll make a lot more people understand that, maybe you're not, though, maybe you're not alone, right? Because there's a lot of struggles that a lot of people that are dating long distance or dating abroad, a lot of struggles that they go through that doesn't get talked about enough. And maybe it could be due to, it's still like growing. It's not necessarily as popular as dating locally, which it's a lot more easier to date locally. I mean, let's face it, you know what I mean? And of course, local dating locally has its own struggles. But dating internationally, dating abroad has its struggles as well. And it doesn't get talked about enough because it's kind of a new concept, really. And then on top of that, some people are just embarrassed to talk about it. Because, let me tell y'all something real quick. All right. So, I dated internationally, I dated abroad, right? And it was a fantastic relationship. Shout out to Arena, shout out to her. It was a fantastic time, a fantastic relationship, that I don't regret at all. I don't regret not one single moment of it. It taught me a lot about myself. It taught me a lot about life. It taught me a lot about the world. In fact, if it wasn't for Arena, Against All Odds wouldn't really be as big as it is now. It wouldn't. I can really thank Arena for how big Against All Odds got, because before episode 3, which was episode 3, I thought was the first big episode of Against All Odds. Before that, it was very local. But once episode 3 came along, it kind of took me in a different route, in a different journey, where it's like, all right, we're not just going to dominate locally or domestically, we're going to dominate internationally. So it became more of an international thing from episode 3 forward. Episode 3, when Istanbul, episode 4, Italy, episode 5, I believe it was Paris, episode 6, Barcelona, 7, Madrid, 8, Cappadocia, 9, Cappadocia again, because I had to split that up in 2 because it was too much. 10 and 11 were Istanbul again. I think episode 12, Madrid, 13, 14, Seville, 15 will be in Barcelona, and 16, stay tuned for that one. It's going to be very exciting. I think episode 15 will be dropping again. I'm gonna do another promotion. Episode 15 is dropping. The World Is Yours is dropping. It's going to be one of the best Against All Odds episodes. But I'm even more excited for what's going to happen after episode 15, because we have so much cool shit planned after that, man. It's a whole brand new era after episode 15, man. Episode 15 is kind of like the end of an era for Against All Odds, and episode 16 will kind of be the dawn of a new era, which is why I'm so excited about it. But because of my relationship abroad and dating long distance for as much as I did with Arena, it taught me so much, and it was great. The best relationship I've ever had. Arena and I have a very close connection. We still speak. We're on good terms. Shout out to her. I thought I would give her a huge shout out because she is a phenomenal individual, of course. Um, and so there were some struggles that we faced when we were in a relationship together. There were some struggles. Now this presentation isn't to highlight our struggles, right? But it's to highlight overall, like, what most people face when they're in a long distance relationship or dating abroad. Because I have spoken to other people that have said, damn, man, like, as much as I love this, there are some things. There are some things, and it's not that they want to end the relationship, but it's more of they want to speak about it. They've been bottling up a little bit and they kind of want to speak about it. So, because of my own experience and their experiences, what I've seen, my observations, I've acquired or gathered a couple negatives, a couple struggles that you'll encounter if you do plan on dating abroad, or if you are dating abroad right now. And again, like I said, most people don't talk about this because they're embarrassed, right? One thing that I faced a lot, and I'm kind of, rushing a little bit, but one thing was I didn't want to speak about certain struggles or certain things about my relationship, long distance, my relationship abroad, because People judge. Like people watch 90 Day Fiance and they get entertained by that, right? And it's one of the most popular shows in the world. It's one of the most popular shows in America, right? And they laugh at those people that date each other, and they laugh at the fact that guys would go to other countries to date women. And I always thought that was such a low thing to do, right? We talk about acceptance, right? And specifically in America, it's just Americans that do this shit. No other race, no other country makes fun of men or women for dating foreigners, for dating outside the country. It's usually just Americans for the most part, right? But we talk about all this acceptance here in America where you can date the same sex and you can all this shit, right? They talk about acceptance, be yourself, date who you want to. Love is love, right? But the minute you say, I want to date someone from Colombia, I want to date someone from Russia, I want to date someone from the Ukraine, Brazil, Thailand, Philippines, I want to mention all the countries, but I just can't, right? But the minute you say you want to date internationally, people start looking at you all crazy. Like, what's wrong with the women here? What's wrong with the men in America? Right? It's like, no, it's not that there's something wrong with the people here. It's just more of that. I want to see what the world has to offer. You know what I mean? Like I kind of, maybe you went to Spain, right? You went to Spain and you saw the mamacitas in Spain, and you're like, damn, I like the vibe out here. I kind of want to date out here, right? Why should you be judged for that? Why is that such a bad thing that you want to date internationally? I don't think that's a bad thing. If that's something that you're okay with, a long distance relationship, dating abroad, so be it, man. All the power to you. But the reason why people don't want to speak about struggles is because they're embarrassed. A lot of people don't understand, right? They'll criticize them, they'll judge them, like, oh my god, this guy's a loser. That's what you get for dating abroad. You should just date locally, date the women here, right? That's why a lot of people won't come forth about their struggles about dating abroad. But that's what this broadcast and this presentation is all about, is being open about these things, sharing our experiences, understanding that we're all in the same boat at the end of the day. So, just because you're dating a girl from Thailand and I'm dating a girl from the Eastern Europe or Brazil or whatever, it don't mean, and just because they're different cultures, doesn't mean that we don't share the same experiences when it comes to dating abroad and dating and having a long distance relationship, right? Most long distance relationships, you'll pretty much the same struggles. You're pretty much going to face the same struggles in a long distance relationship, right? Um, so that's what this is all about: is acceptance, understanding, and kind of letting things out. I want you guys to start communicating. So if there is an issue with you and your partner about any of these things that I'm about to go over real quick, it's important to communicate it. Communicate it with your partner if you already haven't, because it can save you a lot of time, a lot of stress. You know. But let's get to it, ladies and gentlemen. I've been talking a lot. I want to get to the presentation. I wish I could show you guys a visual aid, and it irks me that I can't. Hopefully by next week, I can show you guys a visual aid. I just think YouTube and StreamYard, or my computer, that is, my computer is really at the one at fault here. My old ass Mac. I think my old Mac is the passport, bro. And my Mac is mad that I'm making this presentation right now. But what my Mac doesn't understand is I'm not bashing people that are in long distance relationships or that are dating abroad. It's just more of talking about the struggles that you encounter if you date abroad. Right? It's not bashing. It's just talking about struggles. All right. But anyways, let's get to it. So the cons of dating overseas, presented by your boy Jamie Woods. Subscribe, like, share, all that, guys, man. Hook a brother up. All right, so I'm at number one. So I'm blind as a bat, ladies and gentlemen. So if you see me really zoom in over here, it's because I'm blind. I can't really see. Actually, oh, there we go. I can zoom in on this. All right, there we go. Hopefully you guys can hear me. All right, so number one, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start off with this one, is loyalty. So when you are dating abroad, you must likely be involved. Yeah. So when you're dating abroad, you will most likely be involved in a long distance relationship, which means you won't be there with your significant other as much. This can cause trust issues, as it's much easier to get away with cheating in a long distance relationship. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's something that you may encounter in a long distance relationship, is just the fact that the loyalty may not be there. Maybe they'll tell you, yeah, I'm loyal to you. I'm only you. You're the only person I'm speaking to, blah, 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 right? But behind your back, they're probably speaking to someone else. Now, I'm not saying this is everybody, right? I'm not saying this is every woman or every man that lives abroad, right? I'm just saying there are people like this, and I've seen people like this, right? I'm not going to talk about any specifics or any specific country. That would be unfair. That would be not right to generalize a country and say that every woman or every man from that country is a cheater. But there are some rotten apples out there, right? There are some women or some men from foreign countries that want to date you for the wrong reasons, right? They're not dating you for the right reason. They're not dating you because they're physically or sexually attracted to you. They're not dating you because they love who you truly are. Maybe they're dating you because of the green card. Maybe they're dating you because of the advantages and the benefits that come with dating an American man, right? Because we're talking specifically an American man here, American man or American woman, right? So we're talking an American man, American woman that's dating someone from a different country. That most likely is what happens most of the time, right? So that's something that you may come across as certain people. Not all, okay? Not all women or men from foreign countries want this, okay? I've expressed this before. Well, actually, you know what? I am dropping a video this week. I thought I dropped it, but I'm dropping a video this Friday that's actually talking about whether or not foreign women are easy, right? So we're talking easy to hook up with, sleep with, all that, right? And in that video, I will discuss why they're not as easy as y'all think they are, right? But that's Friday. But in that video, I mentioned something and I talk about the fact that there are many women that I met in other countries that don't want to move to America. They would rather live in their country and they want you to move into their country. They don't want to move to America. They don't want to live there, right? But there are certain women that are desperate to come to America, or men that they want to go to America. They want to experience America. And maybe they're not really so much in love with you. They're more in love with the George Washington, right? The dollar bill, the US dollar, the American experience, kind of living out the movies that they've seen throughout their childhood. And so because of that, because they're dating you for the wrong reasons, maybe their loyalty may not be there. Maybe, you know, they say they love you, right? They say they love you, but they don't love you. They love you because of the benefits and opportunities you can provide them. And so basically they have a void. They have the void of, damn, I want to date someone that I'm actually attracted to, that I'm physically attracted to. So maybe locally there might be a guy or their ex or whomever that they might be speaking to behind your back. And they're gonna do what they gotta do behind your back. And you're gonna text them, you're like, oh, how come you haven't texted me back in a while? And they're gonna say, oh, I'm busy, da, 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 right? But they might have been with that person behind your back, right? So that happens. That happens when people deceive you and they tell you, "Oh, I love you," when they really don't. They love you for your opportunities. But the person that they truly love is the guy that they're hanging out with locally in their place, right? Or maybe sometimes even more advanced than that. Maybe they love a guy that is in the city you're living in or in the country you're living in, and they're just trying to move out there, right, to get settled with you for a little bit and then leave you and be with them. Or maybe they might meet another guy that they actually like more in the States, and then they end up being with them. So that's the thing, is loyalty, depending on the person you settle with, might not be there, right? So it's important, ladies and gentlemen, right? This isn't just for men. This is a women thing. So American women as well. My passport sisters, or just women that just want to date, foreign men. It's important, ladies and gentlemen, to screen these people out before you bring them to the States or before you move in with them. Because the thing is, if you notice that they're acting too busy, but they have nothing, like, so if they don't have a business, if they don't have they're not like a streamer or YouTuber, anything like that, where it kind of makes sense why they're not texting you or why they're not calling you, why they're not giving you as much attention. If they don't have anything like that, and they're just saying, oh, I'm busy, I don't know, that's a bit of a red flag. That's kind of a red flag right there. It's like, all right, you're saying you're busy, but you're not doing anything. You don't even got a job. So what are you doing? You know what I mean? If you notice that when you do visit them in the country, that a lot of the guys are looking at you weird, they're kind of laughing at you a little bit. Maybe she's a little bit too flirty. Maybe she's speaking in her native tongue around you, and you kind of don't understand what's being said because you don't speak that language, and you notice it's a little bit too. Sometimes you could sense when someone's being flirty or when someone's talking shit about you in a different language, even though you don't understand it. You notice something like that, that's a red flag. uh just be very careful, ladies and gentlemen. You like it's sometimes it may be hard to notice the red flags because you don't see them as much and it's long distance. But guys, I urge you guys and or women to take your time when you're in a relation, or not even, but take your time when you're talking to someone. Don't immediately give them a relationship when you're dating overseas. There's nothing wrong with talking and being casual for the time being until they've proven to you over a long period of time that they're worthy of a relationship. Now, that's going to rub some people the wrong way, especially my foreign folk. But if the shoes were flipped, you would probably, I mean, you got to do what you got to do to protect yourself, to protect your heart, to protect your finances, to protect yourself, protect your resources. You know what I mean? Just because someone says they love you, don't mean that they love you. Some people throw the word love out like nothing, like if it's candy. Oh, I love you, but do you love them? Do you? Or are you just saying that to play an act? So that's the thing, is the reason why I'm telling y'all to take y'all time with with giving them in a relationship and bringing them into the States is because you want to test them out through a long period of time, that they're really about what they say, right? That they're really honest about their feelings for you. Because again, ladies and gentlemen, not saying all, but there are some rotten apples internationally, right? Foreign women or foreign men that don't want you for you. They want you for the opportunity that you present them. And in the meantime, they're going to be doing what they got to do on the side behind your back because they have a void that needs to be filled, right? Maybe this woman does have some type of interest for you, right? Maybe she does. Just because that woman has some interest for you or quote unquote loves you, don't mean that she ain't going to step aside and do what you got to do. Or a man or a foreign man, for example, right? If they see someone that they're attracted to locally, that they're able to see more on a daily basis, they may try it. We all have physical needs at the end of the day, man or woman, but we all have physical needs. And the thing is, this person, this woman or this man that lives in a different country, they're not seeing you as much. They're probably seeing you maybe, depending on where they from, depending how far they are in the world, right? You might be seeing them only like twice, three, maybe even four times a year, five times if you got money, right? Because it costs money, and that's something we're going to get to later on. It costs money to see these people. Those airplane tickets ain't cheap, especially if you go in the summertime, Christmas time. It's expensive. It's double the price. So you're not going to be able to see them as much, meaning this person's going to be lonely a lot more. They're going to have a lot of free time in their hands. They're going to have a lot of men trying to holler at them or a lot of women trying to holler at them. And they may give into the temptation because they have a need that needs to be filled, which is affection, love, physical touch, sex, right? They need this, right? And you're not there to give it to them. So the mentally weak women or men, right? That's what I'm going to call the mentally weak. They're going to fall for these temptations and they're going to do what they got to do on the side and not tell you about it. I've seen situations where women got impregnated by a dude that lives in the same neighborhood as them. And then they're going to make it out, they're going to make it seem like you were the one that did that you're the one that's the father. And then one day you find out that's not your kid and you're going to feel salty as a motherfucker. You know what I mean? All right. So I don't want to spend too much time at this point, but I'm not saying these things again. I'm not saying these things from discourage you guys from dating abroad or for any of my folk that are dating abroad right now. I don't want to say these things to make y'all feel paranoid about your partner. I'm just saying that you need to be careful who you pick. There's a lot of amazing, trust me, man. I met so many amazing women overseas, but I met some bad apples overseas that they don't want you for you. They want you for your resources. So it's your job as a man or a woman to distinguish these two, right? So who loves you for you and who loves you for your resources. And it's also important for y'all to pick up on red flags and try to see what type of person this person really is. Right? Don't just go by whatever they're telling you. Go by what you see, what you observe, their actions. You notice this person's too flirty. You notice this person's too touchy on other people. You notice a lot of guys or a lot of girls know this individual, right? People of the opposite sex, a lot of them know this individual. They talk to this individual. You notice her phone's always blowing up around you. Watch out for these things. Not saying that they are cheating, right? Maybe they're just a very popular individual, but still red flag, right? So that's one thing that the struggle that you may encounter is the fact that loyalty may not be there, right? So be careful with that. Doesn't mean all, but some. All right, number two. Again, I just mentioned this a little bit briefly in the first point. It can be expensive. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, it's obvious. I mean, dating overseas is very expensive, but let me go over this point real quick. All right. So, whenever you meet with your partner, it will always be expensive as you are paying for flights, stay, and activities. This can add up if you're seeing your partner a lot, as it isn't cheap to travel. All right. So, guys, as y'all know, it's not cheap to travel. It's not. You're depending on where this person lives. So, with South America, even South America is expensive. I mean, you might be paying close to $1,000 depending where you're going in South America. You're definitely spending $1,000 if you're in Europe. You're probably spending even more than that if you're going to Asia or Africa or Australia. Your cheapest bet would probably be like, Mexico, Dominican Republic, the Caribbean, and even then, those could be very expensive, right? So, just in general, you're spending almost $1,000 every time you're seeing this individual. All right, we'll just say you're spending $1,000 every time you're seeing them. That adds up. So, if you're trying to see them 4 times a year, maybe more than that, you're spending 4 or 5 thousand. Could be even more than that, depending on the time of the year that you're going. And then, not only are you paying for that, but if this, let's just say this individual, this woman that you're seeing, doesn't have the best of places, right? They're not living in the best of places, or maybe they're living with their parents, and you guys kind of want a little bit of privacy. Now you're paying for a hotel room, you're paying for an Airbnb. Now, depending on the country you're in, it's definitely a lot more affordable in that country compared to America, for example, but it's still money that you're dropping, especially if you're there for a long period of time. Because a lot of y'all, when y'all flying out and seeing your girlfriend or your boyfriend from a different country, you're gonna want to be there for at least more than a week. So we're talking 2 weeks, right? So if it's 100 a night, 50 to 100 a night, times that times 7 or 14 days, nights, I meant, that's hella money. And they're not going to pay for it. You're paying for it, because this is another thing that people need to understand when you're dating a foreign woman. Not saying all, but the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, is that woman is going to be the best woman for you, right? So this is something we're going to talk about part two, where foreign women are very affectionate and loving and very feminine, extremely feminine. Um and they're like that because they don't have as many opportunities in the countries that they're from, depending on where they're from, right? Europe might be a little bit different. Europe is kind of more like America a little bit, but depending where you are, so South America, Asia, they don't have as many opportunities to make their own money. So because of that, they're very feminine, right? Because the more feminine they are, the better chances they're going to get to attract a masculine man, the type of man that they want, right? So feminine, as in they're going to be very submissive to you, they're going to be very warm to you, nurturing, they'll cook for you, clean, whatever, right? So because they're being feminine for you, they're going to expect you to be masculine. They're going to expect you to dominate and lead. A part of leading is providing and paying, right? So a lot of these women are going to expect you to pay 100% of the time for the most part, right? Maybe they may offer to pay a thing or two, just to be nice, right? I've had that happen to me. But for the most part, they're going to expect you to pay. And so not only are you paying for the plane ticket, but also you're paying for the activities, you're paying for the restaurants, you're paying for because you guys are going to go out to eat. So sure, it will be cheaper to eat out in some of these countries. Much cheaper. You could probably go to a 5-star restaurant and probably only pay $20 to $40 for the both of y'all. But that adds up. So if you're eating breakfast, lunch, dinner, you're paying 20 to 40. So let's just say 20 at the low end. So you got 20 for breakfast, 20 for lunch, 20 for dinner. You're talking 60 a day, $60 a day. That may not seem like much, especially to an American. But you times that times 7 or 14 days, 2 weeks that you're there, and we're talking a decent amount of change right there. On top of the Airbnb, on top of the plane, on top of the activities, because you guys are going to want to do activities together, whether that's the cinema, tourist attractions, clubs, bars, all that. That adds up. And then on top of that, there's also the factor that this woman might be able to travel, right? So maybe she does have a very good passport. She has a visa, whatever the case is, to go into a different country, right? So you're not even meeting up with her in her own country. Maybe you're meeting up with her in a totally different country. So most likely you're paying for her plane ticket as well, which is another $1,000 depending. So everything adds up whenever you're meeting with this individual. So one thing that I learned was you got to be, when it comes to these type of relationships, which they're phenomenal, by the way. I love I love dating, abroad. Like I said, it's exhilarating. We're going to get to that in the second part of this when we talk about the pros. But a struggle that comes with this, ladies and gentlemen, is you got to get your money right. Your money better be white. It better be right if you're dating a foreign woman or a foreign man, because it's going to cost, right? Everything's going to cost you money. Everything. Because you're going to pay pretty much 9 times out of 10, 100% of the time. Probably. They're not really going to pay because they don't make enough money in the country that they're in to be able to pay. I'm sure if they had the money to do it, they would. It would probably be a little bit more 50-50. But because they're not making as much as you are, they don't have the same opportunities that you are, they're not going to be able to pay. In fact, some of these countries, some of the I'm not trying to put people's names down or anything, you know what I mean? I think it's a little bit inappropriate to mention names. But I know some specific women that live in certain countries that only make, maybe if they're lucky, like 300 to 400, maybe less than that, actually 300 to 400 a month. America, most guys in America make 800 to 1,000 a check. So they're only making a small fraction of what you make in one check in America. So imagine trying to pay something off with that small amount of money that they can't. They need that for rent. They need that for other things to support themselves. So because of that, and because also another thing I forgot to mention, cultural tradition, which we're going to get to culture later on, because of culture, because in certain cultures, Asian culture, Latin American culture, where women are taught the man pays for everything, because they're so conditioned to believing this, they expect you to pay for everything, right? And they're not going to think anything of it, because that's what they grew up believing, was the man pays for everything. The woman, the woman takes care of her man in other ways. But when it comes to finances, the man does that. And if you even dare to say, oh, let's do this 50-50, they're going to look at you crazy. Man, bro, I dare y'all to do this real quick. I dare y'all to tell a Eastern European woman, all right? So we're talking a Russian woman, a Ukrainian woman, a Polish woman, Romanian, Kazakhstanian, Belarusian. I think that's how you use Belarusian, right? I dare you to tell one of those, a woman from those countries. We're talking a woman that's been born and raised and lives in that country. I dare you to tell her, let's split this bill 50-50. Or I dare you to tell her, hey, I'll cover the tab this time around. You cover it the next time. And see the look that she gives you. That'll probably be the last time you see that woman. That woman is deuces, like that Chris Brown song, deuces. Bro, that's how she's gonna look at you. That's exactly what's gonna happen. That's the last time you see that woman. It's embedded into their culture, where the woman does woman things, right? So they have their own gender roles, and the man pays. So you're expected to pay. Okay. So don't come with that whole Americanized 50-50 shit. I pay now, you pay later mentality. That doesn't work in other countries, okay? So leave that behind. And we're gonna get to that later. That's more of a culture thing, but it does have to do with money. All right. So it does get expensive, ladies and gentlemen. So I do not recommend that you date abroad or date an international or foreign woman or man if you don't got your money right, because it will require money. And just because these countries can be a little bit more affordable doesn't mean that it don't add up. All right. Because if you're seeing this person a couple times a year, it adds up. Okay. So just thought I'll let y'all know that. All right. So that's number two. It could be expensive. All right. Number three, the distance. Okay. So let me read this off. So distance can be a bummer when it comes to a relationship, as your emotional and physical needs are never met. If you want to speak to your partner, you'll have to settle for phone calls or FaceTime. All right. So let's start off with that one. There's a couple points that I had over here, but we'll start off with that first point. So that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, is the distance. It's almost like you're single in a sense. It's like you're dating someone, but you're single. And here's what I mean. So you're dating someone because you've made it official with this individual. You speak to this individual through text, FaceTime, whatever, right? But most of the time, you're not with them. You probably only see them a couple times a year. So because of that, it almost feels like you're single, almost feels like you're dating a ghost, right? And I don't mean that offensively. I'm just saying that's the way it feels. It kind of feels like you're dating a ghost. Because it's like sometimes I remember when I used to speak to people when I was in a long distance relationship, when I was dating abroad, people used to invite me for weddings. And there used to be like, oh, you're invited to my wedding. You have a plus one. Invite your girlfriend that you keep telling us about, right? The only thing is my girlfriend does my girl at the time didn't live in America. She lived in Russia. So how am I supposed to get this girl from Russia to come here? No visa, no nothing. I I might just go by myself. So and if I did go by, and if I do go by myself, they're gonna be like, all right, where's your plus one? Where's your girlfriend that you keep speaking to us about? She lives in Russia. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. Is for a lot of these type of events, sweet 16s, weddings, whatever the case, you can't really take them with you because you live in a different country. And because America has such strict visa rules, you can't get them in quick enough to do these events with you, right? If you're feeling lonely, guess what? I don't know, you're gonna have to find that, you're gonna have to fucking suck it up or something. Because the thing is, this person won't be able to be with you because they live in a whole different continent, a whole different country, a whole different side of the world, right? So you're not going to be able to kiss as much as you want to, or touch them as much as you want to, or have the S word as much as you want to, right? Because YouTube, I got to watch out with YouTube. So there's physical needs, emotional needs, uh, that are usually never met. And when you do hang out with this individual, when you finally see them in person, as much as as great as it is, right? As much of a thrill as it is to finally see them again and actually do these things with them again, um, it's never enough. It's never enough because you want this on a daily basis. So that's one advantage, obviously, that local dating locally has over dating abroad is that these needs get met more often than, let's just say, if you date abroad. Because there have been some times when I was in my relationship with Arena, there were some times I was like, damn, man, I miss kissing. I miss doing all sorts of things, right? And I can't do it because she's not here. So that was always a struggle. Was I was like, I got, because I'm a lover boy. I mean, that's who I am at the end of the day. I'm a lover boy. I'm affectionate. I'm touchy. I'm just that's just who I am. I like to always be around my woman. And the thing is, I couldn't because she was living in Russia, right? So that was the issue when I was dating Marina was that was a struggle for me. And I'm sure that's a struggle for many men that are dating abroad or are in long distance relationships. Is they can't do what they want to do at all times. And if it's a Friday night and your friends are all busy because your friends are all married and they have girlfriends, you're stuck alone for that night. Most guys don't want to go out, or most girls don't want to go out by themselves, right? It's not like you can teleport your girlfriend and your boyfriend from a different country to go see you and do something that night, or even fly out to their country to see them. That's money, that's time, you have vacation time, right? You have to set that up with your job. There's just so much complications that come with long distance relationships that you don't experience locally, right? You better make sure your PTO time is saved up. Y'all better use that PTO time wisely, that vacation time wisely. You better use it wisely. A lot of Americans usually get what, like 14 days. Is it a week? No, it's 2 weeks. I think a lot of Americans have 14 days worth of PTO. So y'all better use that shit wisely, right? So the way I used to do it when I was dating Arena was I used to plan my vacations around holidays. So Labor Day, 4th of July, Memorial Day weekend, Martin Luther King, all those type of holidays where it's 3-day weekends, President's Day weekend, because the thing was that's an extra day that I have to work with. You know what I mean? And in my job, the way it works is sometimes we have to work on a weekend, and when we work on a weekend, we get to, because we're not supposed to work on weekends, but since my job requires you to work one weekend, what happens is they'll give you a day off the following week. So whatever day you choose, which most people choose the Monday or the Friday. So I used to do that on top of the holiday and on top of a couple PTO days. And I used to stretch that out, and I used to make the most out of that because I wanted to see Arena as much as possible at the time, because that was my girlfriend at the time. So make sure y'all stacking up that shit, man. Like I said, there's complications that you'll encounter when you're in these type of relationships that you won't if you're local, right? It's still worth it. Trust me, it's worth it if you love that woman. If you love that woman, if you love that man, they make you feel like no one else does. It's worth it, but it's complicated. Okay. All right. So the distance is another one. So that's the first point. So another one, this kind of doesn't really have to do with the distance, but it's kind of like a bonus. Think of it as a bonus almost. But some people may judge you for your long distance relationship. So I kind of touched upon this a little earlier. But that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, is people are gonna judge you. They're gonna be like, oh, you're one of those. Why can't you find yourself a woman or a man locally? They're gonna think something's wrong with you because you decide to date someone from a different country. So you have to get used to that, right? A lot of people going like especially at work, family, they're always gonna ask, "Oh, what's going on? Do you have a girlfriend? Are you dating someone?" Right? And sometimes you're gonna be almost like you're gonna it's almost like you want to lie to them sometimes, because it's kind of like, oh, I'm not trying to go through this shit again, because as soon as you tell them that you're dating someone from a different country, they start looking at you weird. It's always that same look. I was like, oh, I'm dating someone. Oh, really? Who? I want to meet her. Yeah, I'm dating him. I've been dating him for a while, and they live in a different country. And then they give you the look of, oh, interesting. Where are they from? And then you gotta tell them where they're from and how long y'all been dating and all that shit. And if you see them enough and how you met them, because they're curious how you met them. Yeah, you'll have to be dealing with that. But like I said, if you love your woman, if you love your man enough, man, it won't matter. And it shouldn't matter. That's the thing that people have to get over, is that long distance relationships, there's nothing wrong with it. People always gonna make it seem like it's wrong if you're dating someone from a different country. Oh, they're dating you because of the visa. They're dating you because you're American. They're dating you because blah blah blah. Right? They're always coming up with all these excuses. But I met so many women and so many guys from foreign countries that they truly love the individual that they're talking to. Sure, they want the opportunities. I mean, if I was a foreign woman and I met an American man that I thought was, handsome, of course, I'm gonna date the dude because he's handsome dude. I'm attracted to him. It's just something about polar opposites, right? Because American men, there's something about us that's different from foreign men. Not saying foreign men ain't not saying that foreign men ain't good, because they are, but there's something about an American whenever you meet someone from a different country, even here in America, you meet a woman from the United Kingdom, from England, and they start talking, and you're instantly in love with her. You say, "Oh my god, I'm not used to that accent. I'm not used to how she is, the words that she's saying." Right? You fall in love because it's different from what you're used to. So that's the thing about us American men when we go to a foreign country like Colombia, Brazil, any other country in Europe, whatever. We're different. We got a certain walk to us, a swag, the way we dress, the way we talk, the language, right? The money, everything, right? It attracts these women or men, right? Um, and that's the thing is that people confuse that and they say, "Oh, they're just dating you because of the visa and opportunity." Nah, man, they're dating you because they're attracted to you. They're not used to that. They're not used to an American man. American men usually are very confident. There's a swag to us, right? There's a certain little bit of arrogance that they kind of like that they don't really experience in the place that they're from. And then the opportunity and the money is the cherry on the top. That's just a bonus for them. But like I said, there are certain rotten apples that do want that. That's all they want is opportunity and money. And that's why I said earlier, you gotta scout, you gotta be able to observe these things, right? But just because they're dating you doesn't always mean they're dating you because of the money and opportunity. They'd probably date someone locally, but you're probably more handsome, you're different, you stick out. They like that, they like the way you are, they're not used to the way you are. They like it, it's attractive to them, right? So that's the thing about American men, man. We have a different vibe to us that a lot of these foreign women like, right? Or foreign or American women, for example, right? So that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. So you are gonna get judged, but don't let that get to ya. It is what it is. If you love that individual, it don't matter what people say, man. At the end of the day, this person's gonna end up living with you someday, and it won't matter anymore. It'll just be a great story. So this is another part. Is separating from your partner at the airport can be very painful. So it can be very painful, ladies and gentlemen. Extreme. It's almost like someone stabbed you in the heart, like stabbed you, like blah. That's how much it hurts. Like you know it's coming. You know that dreaded day is coming when you two have to split. And it seems like days are going by quicker and quicker and quicker. Like you literally land, and it's the happiest experience of your life. You get to see this person again, you get to kiss him, you spend time with them, and then the days go by quickly and quickly and quickly and quickly. It literally flashes before your eyes, and it's the last day, and you're taking that taxi to the airport, and you have all this pain and sadness inside of you because you know that you're leaving in this individual. All that great memories that y'all had, it's gonna have to be put on pause until a couple months later, whenever it is that you see them again. You have to go back to reality, back to America, back to 9 to 5, and back to texting this individual and FaceTiming this individual. That shit hurts. You got so used to being around this individual. Now it's being stripped from you. Now you gotta fucking be alone in a bed, sleeping alone in a bed, right? No affection, no nothing, right? You want that, you gotta FaceTime them. It hurts. Just that last hug, that last kiss before you leave that individual. That shit is so painful. Like I said, it's almost like someone just stabbed you. It hurts. It hurts so damn much. What top 3 worst things ever to experience is leaving your significant other at the airport, splitting from them. I ain't gonna lie to ya. There have been times I've cried. Right. This is my thing is I always feel men should never cry in front of their woman for the most part, unless like, someone passed away or whatever. But for the most part, I always believed in you hold it down as a man. You hold it down, right? You keep your emotions in check, because she's crying. Your girl's probably crying. She definitely crying. She can't help herself. She's crying. But me as a man, I'm trying to calm her down. I'm like, nah, don't. Even though you're dying inside, you're dying because you're leaving this person, or you love this person. You made more special memories with them. You got so used to them just for you to leave. But at the same time, you hold it down because if you cry, if you break, it's just gonna make them even sadder. And that was the last thing I wanted. So I would hold it together for that time being. And even though I'm dying inside, I try my hardest to stay strong, stay strong. Because if I stay strong, she's gonna stay strong. You know what I mean? You give them that last hug, that last kiss. It's almost like the worst feeling ever. and you leave them and you're looking at them as you walk away or as they walk away, and you literally a tear starts to go down your face, right? A tear. And then that tear turns to like you start bursting out like in tears, right? And you start crying because it's so damn hurtful. You have to go to the bathroom to cry in peace. And I what I used to do was I used to have a hat and glasses to kind of hide the fact that I'm crying. But I would cry. I would wipe my tears, cry some more, wipe the tears. I would go to airplane, cry, have my sunglasses on, people looking at me all crazy because why this guy putting the sunglasses on? But I did it to hide the tears because it was so damn painful leaving this person behind. And that's something you'll encounter. One of the main struggles you'll encounter when you're dating someone abroad. Y'all make so much special memories. Have the best time of your lives. And then it all gets stripped away from you. And now it's time to go back to your country. Time to go back to reality. And you leave this person behind. You go back to digital love, right? Where it's just texting and FaceTime. And that's not good enough. I want this person to be next to me. I want this person to be kissing me. I want this person. I want to create more memories. And I can't do that because we live in two different countries. The visa process is extensive. It won't allow her to come with me, right? If I could have this woman come with me to America, I would, but I can't. I can't because it's not allowed, and I have to be patient, and that hurts. That's one of the most hurtful feelings that you can go through, man. Is leaving that person behind and going back to reality after such a magical 2 weeks of spending time with them. And that's something you have to get used to if you are dating abroad, right? So just let make sure y'all you have your tissues and your sunglasses and your hat to cover that up, man, because you're gonna be going through that, right? If you truly do love that individual, but if you don't, of course, you're not gonna give a damn, which at that point, why you're dating this individual if you don't give a damn. But just letting y'all know, you will be going through that, right? It's very painful. Number 4 is language barrier and cultural differences. Okay, so I split this up into 2 points. So, all right, that's the problem. Is I'm trying to see this there. All right, so depending on where your partner is from, there could be a huge language barrier, which can cause confusion, miscommunication, and may even have your conversation lacking substance and depth, due to the limitations. So, ladies and gentlemen, listen. Again, I love my foreign women. I do. But a struggle you might encounter depending on the woman, depending on the woman or the man, right? If you're a passport cis or a woman that's trying to look elsewhere to date men from other countries, something that you will encounter is a language barrier. Because the thing is, these people weren't born speaking English or learning English. They were born speaking their native tongue, right? Whether that's Spanish, whether that's Russian, Ukrainian, Portuguese, Mandarin, whatever, Tangalian, I think, whatever their language is, right? They weren't born speaking English. Maybe they learn English later in their lives, so they're not the most fluent in it or the most confident in it or the most well versed. And neither should they have to, right? Because that's not really their native language. The fact that they learn a second language is impressive. That's what let me before I get to the point that I'm trying to get to. One thing that well, it kind of has something to do with what it is I'm talking about. But one thing that a lot of American people need to be more understanding of is just how difficult it is to learn a second or third language or a new language in general. Be understanding of the individual that you are dating. All right. So if English is not their native tongue, if in their country, in the country that they live in, English isn't a spoken language, that's something that they just learn just because. Be understanding. Don't make fun of them. Don't ridicule them. Right? Maybe if you're teasing, I used to tease a little bit. I think teasing, being playful I think that's okay. But if you're disrespecting them and ridiculing them and belittling them because their English isn't up to par, stop that. That's not good. Don't do that to her. Don't do that to him. Don't do that to that person. The fact that they're learning English and they can actually formulate a sentence and speak to you as much as they can and have a whole conversation with you, even though it's not the best English, that's impressive. And that should be applauded because it's not easy. A lot of y'all American men, right? And women, y'all only know one language. Y'all only know English. But yet you want to ridicule this person because they know they're learning a new language, meaning that they probably speak 2 or 3 languages, but you want to ridicule them. Try learning another language and speaking to someone in a different language and see how that works for you. See how you feel. You're probably gonna feel embarrassed. You're probably gonna feel like shy because you're like most people ridicule people for shit like that. So, oh, your English isn't great, or let's just say maybe you're in Spain and you're trying to learn Spanish, which Spanish people don't do that. But let's just say you meet a rude Spanish person, you're trying to speak to them in Spanish, and they're over here ridiculing you because your Spanish isn't good enough. How would you feel about that? It's gonna discourage you. And that's the last thing you want. If you're dating this individual, you want them to feel comfortable speaking to you in English. Make them feel comfortable. Make them understand that it's all right to make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes around me, around your man, around your woman, right? For the women out there. It's okay. You can be yourself around me. You can speak to me. And if I do see something that's wrong that you said, I'll correct you. But by ridiculing them and making fun of them, being rude, that's not going to do anything. You're going backwards at that point. So be helpful to that individual. Be understanding, right? There's no reason why you should be ridiculing. I can't even say the word ridiculing someone that's trying to learn a new language while you only know one language, which is English. Try learning another language and seeing how that works, right? So stop with that, ladies and gentlemen. But I will say though that when you are dating a foreign woman from a country that doesn't speak English, so obviously this is not really a problem if you're dating an Australian woman, if you're dating a English woman or anywhere from the UK, if you're dating even African women in Nigeria, like I think they speak English out there. They learn English at a very young age over there. So I met a lot of African women that speak better English than I do. You know what I mean? So they've learned English at a young age. I think they teach English in schools out there, so they know English. Um, Ireland, of course. What other country? And Canada, countries like that. You won't have to really deal with language barriers because they usually speak English. However, for most of the world, so a lot of these people don't know English, so they're learning it as time goes on. Because English is a very important language. In my opinion, if you know English, you can pretty much go anywhere in this world and be okay. Because in every single country, there are people that speak English. And I've talked about this before, but English is a universal language. And I say this with confidence because I've been around the world. I've been to Turkey. I've been to Europe. I've been to Asia. I've been to Latin America. And while not everyone speaks English, there are a decent group of people, decent population in these countries that speak English. Meaning that anywhere you go in the world, there will be people that speak English. So people are understanding the importance of English. Like literally, you can go to a country like France, where obviously their language is French. And you have a person from China that goes to France. And instead of them speaking to the locals in French, they're speaking to the locals in English. And the locals are speaking to that person from China in English, right? Not Mandarin, but English. So they're all communicating through a common language, which is English. English is a universal language. Even people from China, when they travel overseas, right? Dutch people, Spanish people, every Italians, they're all speaking in English when they're going to these other countries because they know that most people or a decent amount of people speak English. So a lot of these women that y'all gonna be dating overseas are trying to learn English. They're trying their hardest because they understand the importance of it, right? So be understanding of these girls, help them, teach them, right? And have them teach you their language. That's another thing, ladies and gentlemen. Like I was gonna get to well, let me actually get to more problems that you're gonna face. But yeah, miscommunication, confusion, because they might say things to you in their accent, or maybe they might mispronounce it, or maybe they might say it wrong where it gets a little confusing and you may ask them to clarify. But the issue is they don't know how to clarify it for you because they have a very limited understanding of English because it's not their native language. So that's the problem is, there's going to be confusion. There might be a lack of substance in your conversations because their English is only so good enough. They can formulate sentences. They can talk surface level stuff, right? Like what's your favorite color? What's your favorite movie? What's your favorite thing? But when it comes to talking about deeper stuff, like things of substance, it's hard for them to speak about that stuff because they have a limited understanding of the language. So you have to work with that and be okay with that, right? That's one problem of dating a foreigner is the fact they have a limited understanding of English or your language, right? Um, so yeah, you have to work with them, ladies. But a way around this is being understanding, like I said, right? If you're understanding, they're gonna feel more comfortable, meaning that they're willing to take more risks speaking English around you because they understand you're not gonna ridicule them, you're not gonna embarrass them, you're not gonna disrespect them. Because so they're more willing to kind of let loose a little bit, and they're okay with making mistakes around you because you're understanding. So be understanding. Teach them, correct them if they're wrong about something. Don't be afraid to correct them as long as it's done in a respectful manner. That's fine. But another thing is, ladies and gentlemen, is you need to meet them halfway. Learn their language. Whatever language, try to learn some key words in their language. So if they are speaking to you in English, or maybe if you do speak to them in English, that's what I meant. If you do speak to them in English and they don't understand something that you're saying, because you have a decent understanding of their language, you can just say something in their language or a term in their language, and then they'll be able to understand. You know what I mean? I'm trying to come up with I can't really come up with an example at the top of my head, but hopefully y'all understand what I'm trying to say. But if you learn their language, it'll be an easy way to communicate with them, right? Where you can meet each other halfway. So if you don't understand something in one language, you're able to say it in a different language where they can understand it in their native language, right? So and on top of that, if you are dating this individual, why why would you not learn their language? If this is someone that you're planning on being with long term, there's so many advantages to learning their language. Not only will you be able to communicate with this person better, not only will you be able to talk shit about people in y'all language because no one else understands. So if y'all people watching and there's other people around y'all wearing some weird ass shit or doing some weird shit, y'all could talk shit about them in a different language and they wouldn't know. I mean, I'm partly joking around, lady. I'm not being serious about that one, but I guess is a little bit of an advantage. You guys are able to speak each other in a whole different language that no one else around you understands. So it's kind of like an inside language, if that makes any sense. But on top of that, another main one, I'm back to being serious again, is you're able to communicate with her family. Because guess what? Even though she understands English or he understands English, their family may not because their family's more traditional. They grew up in a time where maybe the schools weren't teaching English. Or maybe they're at that age where they're kind of like, all right, I'm old. I don't think I want to learn English at this age because it's just too much, right? So they just stuck to their language. Um, so if you don't know anything in their language, it's going to be harder for you to establish a connection with her family, which is extremely important. Because that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, is when you're going abroad, there's a huge emphasis on family. In Latin America, there's a huge emphasis on family. In Europe, in Asia, huge emphasis on family to the point where these women are living with their family members all the way up until they're in their late 20s almost, right? They're with their family almost every day, every week, holidays. It's a little bit different compared to America, where it's kind of like we're only with family for holidays or special occasions. But in other countries, they're kind of with their family all the time. So because they're spending time with their family, you're probably gonna be spending time with her family. And do you want to be that guy that's just there like, hello, speaking to them in English and shit, and they're like, I don't know English, you know? It's important to learn some key terms in that language. So wherever it is that you're trying to settle down, or whatever woman it is that you're dating, it's important to learn her language so that way you're able to speak to her family. All right. So so that's another important reason why y'all should be learning their language. It's just you're dating a woman. You have the best teacher in the world to show you that language. So why not practice with that individual? You have a whole lifetime to perfect this language, to pass it down to your children. Don't you want your children to know another language? Right? So if you're dating, I'm trying to come up with let's just say you're dating Colombian girl, right? But you're a gringo, right? You're an American. You're a white guy and you're dating a Colombian girl. Don't you want your children to kind of know Spanish? Wouldn't it be better if both parents understood and spoke Spanish? So that way the kid's more likely to speak Spanish when they get older compared to just one parent. So you have to think about that. Is this important to for that child to understand their roots? Right. And for me, it sucks. Like, not saying it's the kid's fault all the time, but when the kid grows up and they only speak English and their mother or their father is from a different country, from Colombia or Brazil or wherever, and they can't speak that language, kind of sucks. You know? So learn the language, because it not only is going to make your communication with them easier, but it's going to be good for establishing connections with her family and everyone else. All right. So cultural differences may also cause problems, as your beliefs and values might be different due to your upbringing culture. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, depending where you date someone. So for example, one example I can think of at the top of my head is in America, for example, especially if you're a Caucasian, right? Because I say specifically Caucasian because the comparison I'm about to make is to a Latin American. So we're talking Dominican, Colombian, Brazilian, like any of these races, Latin Americans. So in Latin America, it's a very upbeat, family oriented culture, right? Specifically, let me just talk about Dominican Republic, right? Mi dominicanos, que lo que está pasando, what's going on, right? Shout out to my Dominicans. You know, I'm Dominican. So with Dominicans, for example, we have dances such as bachata, merengue, which requires you to hold the individual and dance with them. It might appear a little sexual, right? Because it is a very romantic dance. In white culture, there's no such thing, right? A lot of y'all go to your parties and you'll hop around, you fist pump, you know, whatever you'll be dancing to, whatever, right? It's a little different, right? A white Caucasian party compared to a Dominican Latin American party are two different things. It's almost like night and day. Not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying it's two different things. So when that Caucasian individual gets exposed to Latin American culture, where they're at a party and they're seeing people like bachata, you know, but you know, there is just a random guy and a girl. Like maybe it's a family friend or something. So this is what I'm trying to say. Let me backtrack. So let's just say you go to Dominican Republic, you visit this girl's family, and the whole neighborhood's there. You don't know how to dance bachata. Bachata comes on, right? Romeo Santos is being played. You don't know how to dance bachata. So maybe she shows you one time. So you guys are dancing, but you're a little sluggish, whatever, you know, a little rusty, right? And then you sit down because you're kind of tired. You're all sweaty from dancing around. But she's still in the mood because you know how these Spanish girls are. They want to dance all night, all day, all night. Right? So basically, um, a family friend, this big Dominican man, muscular, fit, you know, the dude's ready for, you know, he's ready to dance all night, right? He takes your girl's hand and asks her, can he dance with her? And she dances with him. You, as a Caucasian man or just American man that's not used to this, you're gonna feel some type of way about that. You're like, what the fuck? That's my girl, nigga. What you doing? Right? You don't feel, you might fight the guy. But little did you know, in Latin American culture, that's normal to do. Right? So that cultural difference might be a problem. It cause a little bit of tension and friction between you. Not saying that's going to be the be all end all, right? That's not going to end your relationship, but or maybe it could, but that might cause some issues. One thing I encountered when I was dating Arena was I remember, I think it was a couple years ago. There's this holiday in Russia where random men just give random women gifts, right? Flowers, teddy bears, chocolates, right? It kind of sounds like Valentine's Day on steroids. I think it's in March too, where dudes just stop by a business, pick a girl, and give her like flowers and teddy bears and chocolate. Here you go, like all romantic and shit. And she showed me a picture of flowers, a teddy bear, this that, and I asked her, "Who gave you that?" And she said, "A random guy." And I was like, "A random guy." I was ready to go to Russia. I was ready to talk to Putin and be like, "Yo, Putin, let me in, let me in, let me in," because I was like, I cannot believe this is going on in Russia, right? To us Americans, that's weird. Like, ain't no random dude gonna go to a business. Imagine me as a man going to Walgreens, buying flowers, buying teddy bears, a gift, whatever. And I see this attractive woman, this bank teller at a bank, and I go in the bank and I give her flowers, a teddy bear, all that. Right here, you go. And then she takes a picture of it and shows her man, bro. That man's gonna pull up and try to fight me because that's considered disrespectful here in America. You don't do that to another man's girl or just to a random girl. You don't do that. You know what I mean? It's weird. But in Russia, on that specific day, it's normal to do that. So that's a cultural difference that might cause some friction there. Now, I handled it at first, I was a little jealous about it, but then after a while, I'm like, all right, it's tradition, whatever, it's cool. But another guy might not handle that as well. He might be like, nah, fuck this. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. Just little things like that add up over time. Little cultural differences. You know, like I said, American men, we're not so used to having family over all the time. However, in the Dominican Republic, for example, or Latin American countries, you're always going to be around family. That might cause a little bit of friction. Maybe the food is completely different. Maybe Mexico, for example, right? Where the food has a lot of flavor and a lot of spice. A lot of they love their hot sauce in Mexico. I remember I went over to this one Mexican girl's house, and it was New Year's, and I was drunk as a mofo. And I was like, I'm not trying because I'm the type of dude I like sleeping in my own bed. I don't like sleeping in other people's couches or beds. I feel uncomfortable. I can't sleep. I like sleeping in my bed. So I told her, hey, I'm trying to drive. But she saw I was a little tipsy. She's like, no, 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 don't go. I have this hot sauce. So I was like, what's this? She said, oh, don't worry about it. Just have some of it. You'll thank me later. Bro, I swear to God, I didn't even taste the whole thing. I just had a little sip of that hot sauce. Because I didn't even know what it was. I was like, all right, I guess this is whatever the fuck this is. So I had it. And I swear to God, like boogers started coming down my nose. I started tearing up. My eyes were red. I started sweating like a motherfucker. Bro, everything just out of my body. All the chemicals out of my body. Because it was the hottest hot sauce I ever had in my life. I sobered up like that. Like I'm talking about, I was like, to like sweating. Boogers down my nose. Eyes red as a motherfucker. Like if I would just smoke the whole joint. You know what I mean? Like that's how hot that hot sauce is, right? And to Mexicans, that's nothing. That hot sauce ain't shit to them. They're used to hotter than that. To me, that was hot. So just imagine a Caucasian having Mexican food for the first, like authentic Mexican food, and they're eating it, and they're like, "Oh my god, this is so different from my chicken cutlets at home." You know what I mean? So even food, the way family is, dancing, culture, maybe they come from a culture like I said before, in Eastern European culture, women are very feminine. Women, not saying all Eastern European women, because I love my Eastern European women, okay? Just had to state that. But what I noticed with Eastern European women, they're very materialistic, very feminine. They're like very 100% like the man does all the work. I just here, I do things around the house. I stay pretty. That's just the way they think, right? That's their culture. But to an American man, we're used to women kind of doing things on their own. We're used to women having some type of independence and doing things. So when we date an Eastern European women and we're doing 100% of the work, that might rub us off a little bit weird because like, I'm not used to this, right? So while a lot of men would like that, right, because they want a traditional woman, some men are like, this isn't what I like. I kind of like a woman that's kind of 50-50, right? So that's another thing is culture, traditions. Maybe you're dating a Muslim woman, which is completely different from if you're Christian, right? Right? They're much more different. Their religion is much different. I've had certain men that were Christians that dated that were talking to Muslim women, and the girl told them, "Hey, in order for you to be with me, you got to convert." And the man's like, struggles like that because a Muslim woman, for the most part, cannot date a non-Muslim. You have to convert. You have to get assimilated with their culture and their religion, right? You have to believe in Allah. You have to do all that. And to some American men or foreigners, that might rub them off the wrong way. Or maybe they come from a country that's anti-LGBTQ, because they just grew up in a very conservative, traditional country. So that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, is you're going to encounter people with different perspectives, different outlooks, different culture, different traditions. And that's one thing that you may encounter if you are dating abroad is you might date a woman or a man that's completely different views than you do, a completely different upbringing than you do, a completely different culture. So you have to be okay or open, I should say. We're learning a little bit about their culture. This is why I say take your time. Don't just rush into these things. Take your time. Take your time with getting to learn about their culture. And if it matches for you, if you like it, if you like this woman, you like her family, settle. But at first, take your time with it. Don't rush into it because then if you rush into the relationship and then you see that this culture ain't for you, the family ain't for you, now it's like, oh, now I gotta break up. Now I gotta, now you're in a very sticky situation. All right. So that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, it's cultural differences. All right. So the last one, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to take too long. I've been here for what, an hour and a half. All right. May make you not want to ever date locally. Now, this is kind of a good thing, I guess, good and a bad, depending on how you view it. But dating abroad may spoil you and make it seem like your options locally are boring in comparison. Okay, so coming from a man that was once in a long distance relationship, I once dated, of course, like y'all know, I dated Arena, right? Amazing woman from Russia. Because I dated her, and it was such a phenomenal time, and she's such a beautiful individual inside and out. It made me not want to like once we broke up, I haven't even talked to anyone since then. And it's been a couple months already. God damn. I haven't talked to anyone since then because I'm like looking locally and not saying that the women here ain't beautiful here in the tri-state area, New York City and New Jersey, but I'm just like, man, I'm used to a whole different type of woman. Right? I'm used to the foreign women. And when you share that experience with them, there's nothing, guys. And this I'm kind of like giving y'all a preview of what I will be talking about next week when I talk about the pros of dating abroad. But it's something so exhilarating about going to a country you've never been to before with a whole different culture, and you meet up with this woman and you share memorable experiences with them. There's just something special about that you cannot like you not saying you can't replicate it locally, but it'll be hard to replicate that, right? Because you're not going through like culture shocks, you're not going through first time experiences really. Because like, for example, if I dated a girl here in the tri-state area, we both have kind of the same mentality because we're from the same area. We both been to the same restaurants. We both been to the same places. We've both seen the Empire State Building multiple times. We both seen the Statue of Liberty. There's like no newness to it unless we both went to like California or Vegas or somewhere different in the country, right? But whenever you go with a woman to a different country, or you visit a woman in a different country, you're going through a lot of firsts. Because the thing is, the funny part is, I met women from other countries that haven't even been to the tourist attractions in their own city, in their own country. I met women from Brazil that I've never been to Christ the Redeemer before, and they live in Rio de Janeiro. They live in Rio de Janeiro, but they never been to Christ the Redeemer before. Meaning that if I or someone were to go there to Rio de Janeiro for the first time, and I was like, "Hey, let's go see Christ the Redeemer," it'll be our first time seeing it together. So it's a first timer. She's probably never been to Sugarloaf Mountain. That's another thing we can get off the way. A lot of these women have never been to the tourist attractions in their own city because they either can't afford it, they've been too busy. Like, that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that yeah, you know, that's the thing with dating internationally, dating abroad is there's something so exhilarating about being in a different country, in a foreign country, where things are different, and the US dollar runs deeper, you feel richer, and y'all doing things for the very first time together. It's like it's uncomparable. You can't compare it to dating locally, where the both of y'all probably been to the same places 100 times before. Everyone's so that's the thing about America is we're so privileged here, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean in a good thing, in a good way. But we're very privileged and very much richer than most countries here in America. A lot of us have been to the Statue of Liberty. A lot of us have been to the Empire State Building. A lot of us have been to the tourist attractions here. We've been there multiple. I've been to Times Square freaking 500 times. I can't even count. Right. But a lot of these girls from these foreign countries have never been to Christ the Redeemer. They've never been to the top of for example, my Turkey folk. They probably never been to the top of the Galata Tower, right? They've never been to these tourist attraction places. I'm just naming a couple. So I don't want to keep speaking about it because it is something I will be speaking about next week. But and on top of another thing I want to speak about is just the way they are and the way they act around you. Right. I'm not going to speak about the men because I am a heterosexual man. I've only dated a foreign woman. Right. But the way they are around you, because they're very traditional and very, yeah, that's what I meant, traditional. Um, they're gonna have very feminine around you. They're gonna have very submissive around you, very loving. That's the thing about foreign women is that they're not afraid to show affection. If they like you off the rip, they like you off the rip, and they're gonna let you know verbally, physically, however they want to demonstrate that to you. Not saying American women are inferior, right? Because there's a lot of amazing American women. I'm not trying to make this into an American woman, foreign woman debate. I'm just saying there's differences between them. Because in America, we were in a culture, in a country where it's kind of like you gotta, you don't want to reveal too much, right? It's kind of like you're playing poker. Like you don't want to reveal what your true feelings are just yet. You kind of want to take your time with it and see where it goes. You may not even that person may not even tell you how they feel about you until like the third or fourth date. But when you're dating foreign women in a foreign country, they may tell you that very same second, that very same date, how they feel about you. And they might demonstrate that in much different ways than how they would demonstrate that here in America. And so because you are so used to women being so upfront to you in foreign countries, and and you start getting used to how feminine they are and how warm and how nurturing they are around you. Maybe you really like their accents and the way they act and certain things about their culture. You kind of like how it is. Because of that, it spoils you to the point where when you do come back to America, because eventually you have to come back, you're like, I don't know if I want to date these girls. I don't know if I want to date. That's exactly where I'm at right now. I'm not saying American women suck because like I said, guys, there are a lot of amazing American women. But at the same time, do I want to go through that process where I'm talking to a girl on Tinder or Hinge, they leave me on red, I match with another girl, same thing, I match with another girl, maybe not my type, but I just swipe right on her because I'll just swipe them right on everybody. Finally, I meet a girl that's somewhat attractive that I kind of like. I go on a date with her. She don't like me. Back to square one. Meet another girl, but she's an attention whore. She actually doesn't want me. She just likes the attention I give her. I meet another girl. I take her on 3 dates. Nothing happens. Ghosts me. I meet another girl, and finally something happens, but she's trying to get over her ex. So then she ditches me. It's like that's kind of like the toxic dating environment that we're living in compared to Latin America, Europe, where it's more straightforward. Where you date a woman, you go on a date. In fact, these women won't go on a date with you unless they like you. They won't go on a date with you unless they like you. In America, they might be 50-50. They might be on the fence with you. In America, they might just be going on a date with you to get a free meal. In America, they might be dating you just to forget about their ex. So that is the issue, is that we need to work on that in America being a little bit more direct. But that's what I'm saying though. So you go from dealing with this on a daily basis in America, and then finally you go to a Colombia, you go to a Brazil, you go to a Dominican Republic, you go to Europe, where they're more direct. You get what you want quicker, right? The relationship is more passionate, more straight up. And because you're exposed to this, you don't want to go back to what you did in America. So that can create problems, because it's kind of like, if it doesn't work out with this girl in the foreign country, now you're back in square one. Now you're back in America. You got to deal with these girls here. Not saying they're bad, but you just become so disinterested in dating here, where it's kind of like, nah, I want to date somewhere else. So that's where I'm at right now in my life, where if I wanted to, I could get a girl here, but it's like, you know how long it's going to take me to find a girl that is my type, that's interested in me? I don't got the time for that. Right now, I'm doing a live stream. I got to edit videos. I got to do TikToks. I have 2 jobs. I don't got time for like the games. I don't got time for the loop-de-loop. I don't got time for that. I'm so used to directness because of dating in foreign countries. I'm just like, I don't want to deal with the game here. You know what I mean? So that's the thing, is it spoils you. It's kind of like, so the women equivalent of this, it's kind of like, let's just say for most of your life, you've been dating average men, right? Average men, like they're making 50K a year or less, right? They're taking you to Cheesecake Factory. They're taking you to maybe a little bit of a little 5-star restaurant here and there whenever they can afford it, right? He's driving a Honda or a Toyota or something along those lines. And then one day you meet an NFL player, you meet an NBA player, you meet a baller. Homeboy lives in a mansion in the hills. He takes you to 5-star restaurants. He flies you out. Y'all go to the most expensive places in other countries. Dude buys you Louis Vuitton this, Gucci that, Balenciaga, da 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 da. Once you go through that, you don't want to go back to just average. You want to continue that lifestyle. You want to date men like that. And that's where some women in this country specifically, that's their problem, is they've gotten so accustomed to dating guys like this that they don't want to go back. In a way, they kind of want to go back, because it's kind of like they understand that these guys that make this type of money, that have this lifestyle, can be players, but they're so addicted to that lifestyle, they can't go back. They can't. So it's the same thing for us men, passport bros specifically. When we go out the country, we date these phenomenal women from other countries, and they spoil us with that nurturing, affectionate, warm, feminine vibe, direct vibe, to where when we come back to America and we deal with the girls here, it's kind of like, it's not that they're ugly or they're beautiful women here, amazing women, but it's kind of like, it's not my style. I like the directness. I like the affection. I like, you know what I mean? Like it spoils you. So that's something that a lot of y'all will go through if you're dating foreign women, is it might spoil you forever. You may not ever want to go back. Similar to how some of these girls are when they date these ballers, where they don't want to date average men anymore. Same thing for us men when we date internationally. You don't want to go back. I know a lot of men that they go to Colombia, they go to Brazil, they go to Asia, they go wherever. They date these girls. I asked all of them, would you date in America again? And this is what they say. They say, no offense to American women or American men, right? It could be a woman, right? But I like foreign women better. You know what I mean? And that's just the way it is. And I understand it's difficult. Not even just the women, just the lifestyle overseas is addictive because your US dollar, for most of our lives here in America, a lot of us men have thought that we're broke, right? A lot of us men probably making 40 to 50K a year. That's average salary here in America. You think that that's broke just because in America it's average. Everyone pretty much makes that. So you think you're broke until you leave and you go to a Colombia, you go to Brazil, you go to Asia, some parts in Europe, and you're like, you know what? I'm actually not broke. I'm actually making good money. Shit. So I'm in this country. I'm staying in a beautiful apartment with a nice view of the skyline, nice view of the mountains, beautiful place, penthouse. I got a hot tub, a pool. I can eat out every day. I can go to a 5-star restaurant, only spend $20 to $40 on me and my girl. I got a beautiful woman next to me, a model, pretty much near a 10. Why in the hell would I ever want to go back to the States? And that's how a lot of men think when they get exposed to this, when these type of women in this type of lifestyle. So if you don't want to go through that, stay in America. But just letting y'all know, if you are to pick this lifestyle where you date abroad and you living abroad and you're spending time abroad, this is a couple struggles you may face. Okay. All right, so I think that pretty much seals it. So let's do a quick recap. Loyalty. Not saying all foreign women are unloyal, or men that is, but you might deal with a bad apple here and there. Okay, so just be very careful. Make sure you observe. Make sure you just don't settle for any woman, right, or any man. You have to make sure this is the right man for you because it's such a long distance relationship, and maybe this girl's in Asia and you're in America. It might be easier, and she might feel lonely. She might meet some guy in the neighborhood, and you know what? Fuck it. Like, I'm trying to get something real quick. You know what I mean? So she might cheat on you here and there. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. And or maybe this girl's a cheater to begin with, and she's been cheating you the whole entire time. Maybe she don't love you. She just loves you for your resources, but she has that void of, I need to get digged down and I want to get with a man that I'm attracted to. So let me get with this guy. You know what I mean? And she'll lie to you. You know what I mean? So that's the thing, is loyalty could be a bit of an issue when you're dealing with a long distance relationship. It can be expensive, right? Flights ain't expensive. I mean, flights are expensive. Stay is expensive. Experiences are expensive. Okay. This all adds up, okay? So, especially if you're seeing him multiple times a year, you have to do this multiple times a year. So you're spending thousands of dollars a year just to see this individual. Number 3, the distance. So you're not going to be able to see this person every day. You're not going to be able to hold this person every day. You're not going to be able to kiss this person every day. You're not going to be able to spend time as much time as you want. And when you do spend time with this individual, it's never enough. So distance is an issue. And when you do separate with this individual, it can be extremely painful. Number 4 is language barrier and cultural differences. Okay, so they may not have the best English. Maybe you don't know their native language. So because of that, your conversations won't be as free flowing. It won't be as probably won't be as much substance. It'll kind of be to the point because they have a limited understanding, or maybe they speak a little bit of English. So you have to be able to understand. And on top of that, cultural differences. Maybe they believe in different things than you do, and that might clash with you. So just letting y'all know that's something else you might face. And then number 5 is you may not even want to date locally ever again, because you're so spoiled by this experience or experiences that you don't want to date locally anymore, because that's what you want. That's what you like now. You're like, I don't want to date locally. I want to date a girl from Brazil. I want to date a girl from Colombia. I want to date a girl from the Ukraine, whatever, Russia. You know what I mean? All right. So guys, listen, that's a recap. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna go down the list here. But of course, guys, if you like this presentation, if you resonate with this content, you mess with this content, listen, your boy puts blood, sweat, and tears. Just hit 14K today, so shout out to my supporters. But your boy puts blood, sweat, and tears into this shit. All right. So I would definitely appreciate it if you guys supported. So that like button, the share, notification bell, comment, share. Another thing, Patreon. All right. So the Patreon link is in the description. I got exclusive content there with amazing people from all around the world. All right. Eye candy. Okay. Hint, hint. All right. So if you guys are into that type of stuff, $5 a month. The cheapest subscription plan is $5 a month. All right. And I promise y'all, I will give y'all money's worth. Okay. I will give y'all money's worth. I'll make sure I drop content every single week. Right now, I'm gonna be straight up. I have 0 members on my Patreon. I just started it 2 months ago. It is what it is. But I got 0 members on my Patreon. Hopefully, I get to get it at least to 1. But I'm gonna give you your money's worth. And for those of y'all that aren't on there, which no one's on there yet, y'all missing out on some epic content. Trust me. Okay. Trust me. We talked about dating abroad. I have a series on Patreon called Dating Without Borders. All right. Amazing content. Okay. $5 a month at the cheapest. If you could spend if you could spend $5 on a 4 for 4, trust me, $5 on Patreon, you're getting more money's worth than you are with a 4 for 4. All right, and Wendy's. All right. Teespring. All right, the merch. You like the merch? You want to support the Jamie Woods brand? Make sure you go on Teespring. That link is also in the description center. Okay, so click on that. I got my St. Patrick's Day hoodie. I got my self-care hoodie. I got, of course, my official Jamie Woods hoodie, the King's version, and of course the Valentine's Day edition for the women. I got my my t-shirts. I got my mug. Guys, I have a lot of merch, man. Check that out, man. Cheap as fuck too, man. Check that out in the Teespring. Of course, follow me on Instagram. All right, so that's jamie.woods11. Follow me. And then follow me on TikTok. I'm also very active on TikTok at JamieWoods11. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much wraps everything up. I hope you guys enjoyed. Support your boy, like, share, all that good stuff, notifications, subscribe. And your boy will be back next week with part 2 of this 2-parter series. And I will be talking about why or more of the pros of dating abroad, because there's many pros. I think there's actually more pros than there is cons, in my opinion. So I hope you guys are excited for that one. But like I said, I wanted to start off with the negatives and then end off on a positive note, which is why this week I did the cons or the struggles. And then another thing is I had a struggle with this freaking Mac computer that I wanted to punch in the freaking face, man. I wanted to punch this monitor so damn bad. Not only was I talking about the struggles of dating abroad, but my freaking Mac was struggling to do anything today. For me to open up the PowerPoint, for me to even start this, man, it was a struggle. Man, I started a whole 30 minutes late because of this bullshit. But anyways, yeah, next week we'll be talking about the benefits and the pros of dating internationally. So that will be a very, 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 very exciting and amazing broadcast. So definitely tune in for that. All right. But guys, run this back if you enjoyed it. Share it with someone that needs to see it. Share it with your girl from Colombia, Brazil, Russia, Ukraine, wherever she's from. You know, tell her what's good. Tell her Jamie Woods said what's up. You know what I mean? I'm playing around. But listen, guys, that ends the broadcast. I'll see you guys next week. And a new video dropping this upcoming Friday against our Lots 15 coming soon. I'll give y'all that date soon as well. All right, guys, peace out. Thank you so much. Enjoy. Happy Monday. And yeah, relax. Have a good rest of your week. And live it up and keep inspiring those, keep motivating, keep pushing, guys. If you keep pushing, you never know where you'll go in life. All right. So, guys, that's pretty much that. Take care. See y'all next time.